Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I'm going to do the Soggy Expat Book Maniac Random Question Tag. This was a collaborative video between Sean the Book Maniac and Heather, the Soggy Expat Booknerd, and they turned this into a tag. I've seen a number of people do this tag, and I think it's quite a lot of fun. I've never been officially tagged, so I'm not going to tag anyone in this. If you see this and you want to do it, just go for it. There are 10 prompts. Number 1, soggy. Cold, soggy fries. Yay or nay? There are 3 correct answers to this question. The first is no. The second is hell no. The third is bloody hell no. And if you know the history of swearing, bloody hell no at one time would have been extremely blasphemous and dangerous to anyone who has strong feelings. It is a very emphatic no. Fries have to be piping hot. And one of the reasons I say this is I am married to a woman who will send back French fries at any restaurant if they are not right out of the fryer and served on the table. On a couple occasions when we go out for fast food and try to take the food home to eat, she will dig into that bag of fries and eat them in the car as they are really piping hot. And while I'm not that fanatic, I do like my fries hot. And when you speak of food, eating soggy fries, I think Heather was saying that this answer will tell her the most about you, is that I don't eat cold food. And I am a very strict on throwing food out. If a food's been in a refrigerator for more than a week, I throw it out because I just don't want it hanging around. So I'm a food tosser. I know when I was growing up, my parents had that philosophy, eat everything on your plate. And maybe that's just a reaction that, no, I don't eat everything on my plate. I will throw food away. And especially if that food is cold, soggy fries. Question number 2, expat. Have you ever lived abroad? If not, would you? No, I have never lived abroad. I think I would have liked to. Unfortunately, I think the time in my life to have lived abroad when I was really young, when I've been in my 20s and single and could just go out and having fun in a foreign country and dating foreign women. Now that I'm old and married, that one's not really an option anymore. Although a few years ago, my wife and I did seriously consider buying a condo in the Mexican Riviera in a town near Acamal. And we lived in Washington State at the time, and my wife just hated the winters where it's kind of cold, kind of rainy, kind of cloudy. I didn't mind it, but she wanted a place to go in the summers, or not in the summers, in the winters, where she could be nice and warm all winter long. And you could, at that time, you could have bought a beautiful 2-bedroom condo in a resort for about $300,000. And at that time, we were both working, well-paying jobs, and it'd be very easy to afford a home in Washington and a condo in Mexico. But we didn't do that. Sometimes I regret it just a little bit, but not too much. And who knows, with the way this country's going, I might become an expat just because that's the only choice I have anymore. But that is a different discussion. Question 3, book. A trip you took and or would like to take because of a book or author made you want to see it in person. You know, when I read about different places, I don't want to go there. If I read about an interesting place, it's good enough for me just to have read about it. And that's what I'm going to say. It's like books don't inspire me to travel. Question number 4, book. a book or author from Canada and or Wales you would like to read. Well, I looked over my list, and for Canada, I have The Tin Flute by Gabrielle Roy. I picked this up as a used bookstore haul. It was like 80 cents or something like that. And I said, yeah, I'll pick that up because it got a lot of glowing reviews from other booktubers. For Wales, I had to dig a little bit deeper into my Kindle. And I found a book, Here Be Dragons by Sharon K. Penman. I have not read any of her books. It is a historical novel. It is the first of a number of books. So I've been always putting that off. So if you're listening to this and you think I should read one of those two books sooner rather than later, go ahead and leave a comment. Question number 5, random. Embarrassing parent story time. A time your parent guardian embarrassed you to your core and you're still recovering, or a time you were that parent. Okay. When I was in 6th grade and was coming up to winter, my mother took me out to Sears or Montgomery Ward or whatever those department stores were called back then in the 70s. And she insisted I buy a winter cap. And she took me to a section where they sold them, and they were all football caps. You know, the caps that show your team colors and your team logo. And she says, pick out a hat that you want. And I didn't particularly care for football at the time. And I said, no, none of these. And she insisted that I buy a cap. And we had a big fight about it in the store. And I didn't want a Redskins cap because we were living in Bethesda, Maryland, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C. And so I begrudgingly picked out a black and gold cap, which was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when we got home, I insisted that she cut out the logo so no one would know it was a football cap. Little did I know is that because of the colors, everyone instantly pegged me as a Steelers fan. One of the guys pointed at me, go, "You're a Steelers fan." I go, "No, it's just a cap." And no, they all called me a Steelers fan. So one day while walking home, I conveniently dropped the cap on the ground. Next day, someone returned it to me because I was the only Pittsburgh Steelers fan in the area, and they know who owned the cap. And I had to do that a few times before I finally ditched that cap. And I've never recovered. I've never become a football fan of any team whatsoever after that event. Question number 6, Maniac. 1 or 2 things you are maniac about, aside from obviously being a book maniac. That's a little harder for me to describe. I am quite devoted to my morning walks. When I don't get to walk in the morning, I really get sort of antsy and upset because I need to walk in the morning. Of course, when I walk in the morning, I'm actually listening to an audiobook, so maybe that is too book related. I'm also very fond of my cats. I have 4 cats right now, and they are just delightful to watch them run around. Just a few minutes ago, one was playing with the feet of this tripod because tripod feet is obviously a cat toy. You know what I'm talking about if you have a cat. Question number 7, random. Have you ever been hideously lost, literally or figuratively? Now, I have absolutely no sense of direction whatsoever. If I'm driving somewhere, if I don't have explicit directions to get there, I can't find it. It's much better now with GPS. However, in the days before GPS, we were down in Williamsburg, Virginia. It was for Thanksgiving. My mother-in-law had decided to invite lots of relatives to this really fancy restaurant. One of these restaurants where there is only one table in the restaurant. And so it's just hideously expensive. And what happened is we were staying at a B&B in Williamsburg, and I asked my wife to get directions. And I was standing next to her when the innkeeper gave directions, and I thought she was gathering these directions for me. And she wasn't. She said, no, you're driving, you pick out the directions. So I just became horribly lost. And there were 2 cars following me because they assumed I knew where I was going, and I had no idea where I was going. I was driving around and they were just following, and finally we got there. We had to stop and ask directions a few times, and each time my wife absolutely refused to pick up the directions and guide me as a navigator because I was the driver. And that was just like, oh, don't ask me to drive anywhere because I will get you lost. Question number 8, random. A memorable encounter with a stranger. One night, it was very close to Christmas. It might have been Christmas Eve. My wife and mother-in-law were at one of the local Indian casinos in Washington State, playing the slot machines. And I can play a slot machine for about 3 minutes and then become hideously, enormously bored just watching those slots go around. Whether I'm losing money or winning money, it just doesn't matter. So when we went to these casinos, I would just sit down at the bar and have a beer. And this was about 6 or 7 years ago. I was about 49 years old. Yeah, about 8 years ago. And I was sitting next to an older African-American gentleman, and he offered to buy me a beer. And I said, okay, we'll sit. And he started talking, and he started talking about how much he wanted to find a 55-plus woman. And he kept going on and on. And I'm going, if you're looking for a woman, you're not talking to one, talking to me. But it was such an interesting conversation, listening on to how he wanted to find his 55-plus-year-old woman and him continuing to talk to me. And I just found that absolutely hilarious. He was a very nice guy. I don't know why. I mean, if he would actually talk to women and not talk to me, maybe he could have found one. Question number 9, random. What did you want to be when you grow up? Oh, what did you want to be when you grow up? If you've now achieved that in real life, what's it like to be fantastically stable as an adult? Asking for a friend. Well, when I was really young, I wanted to be an author and write books. In my 20s, I tried to write some books and looked them over, just, these are really terrible. So that did not happen. And I wound up working at a bookstore. I wound up working at a collection agency. I wound up working for a collections department in a electronics reseller. And somehow I transferred over to the IT department and became a computer programmer. And yeah, that's what I did for most of my adult life, is program computers. And now I'm basically retired. And when I say retired, is that when I sold my house in Washington and moved to Virginia, we sold it for really a lot more money than we thought we would get. And looking over the finances, my wife and I came to the conclusion that I didn't have to work anymore. So I am retired, although not really retired and collecting benefits or Social Security or anything like that. But that's what I'm saying I'm doing. And so far, that has been my favorite career so far. And I guess that's fantastically stable, maybe. Question number 10, random. Are you a people watcher? Do you have a good peripheral hearing? Share an anecdote or 3. I don't pay attention to anything whatsoever. Someone at a table next to me could have their hair on fire and I just would not pay attention at all. I'm not a real people watcher. I stick to myself and let people stick to themselves. So that is the Soggy Expat Book Maniac Random Question Tag. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.